Hello and welcome to the 5 Minute Call, the podcast that takes a deep dive into the stories of the people that make theatre happen. Today we're talking to the multi-talented Shan Ako, known for her performances as Eponine in Les Mis and as Eliza in the smash hit musical Hamilton.
Shan shares her incredible journey from singing at home with her family as a child to touring in Whitney Houston and Motown tribute shows to her breakout on X Factor.
With her passion for encouraging others, Shan opens up about the importance of mental health for performers, what led her to study psychology, and the launch of her book, The Shan Vibe.
Members of the company, this is your 5-minute call. All beginners, please make your way to the stage. This is your 5-minute call, your 5-minute call.
Shan, thank you so much for joining us on the 5-minute call. We're super excited to have you here.
It's so nice to be here and to just sit and just chat music and singing and journeys. Yeah, thank you.
That's
This is
a nice thing
great.
to do just in itself, right?
Absolutely.
Let's not record this. Let's just sack it
sit.
all off. Let's just have a chat.
As a place to start,
Yes.
we'd love to know your story, how you come to be Eliza in Hamilton at this point, but your general journey
Story.
into musical theatre.
Story of Shan.
Yeah, so I definitely come from a musical background, household. I have my mum and especially my dad to thank of introducing us to all types of music from young. I'd go to school and I'd come back home and we'd practice. Like it was that kind of thing. We'd get up and do some sort of working out and singing and recording ourselves on camera. So I had that installed in me, and the discipline and the love for it and the techniques, learning harmonies from a young age. So it was definitely installed at home, my love for
What
music.
kind of music were you singing?
Soul, gospel, reggae, a bit of R&B, but yeah, soul, gospel, reggae was the main. I remember I used to sing a lot of Randy Crawford and Whitney Houston, practicing to Michael Jackson, like those sort of things. There's some legends in there. So I remember being at school and loving music, always in the choirs, loving the teachers and how they'd influenced me and stuff. And then I went to study at the Brit School, which wasn't far from where I lived, and I studied music. I did question at the time when I was applying to whether to tick the musical theatre box or the music box, and I was like, oh, I like singing and dancing, but I was like not too sure about the acting because I wasn't doing that at my previous school. So I was like, let me just stick to music. And Dad was like, yeah, go with the music, and you like playing the guitar and you're learning that. So I got into the Brit School, thankfully.
How old were you then?
I was 14 years old at the Brit. I went there until I was 18. And that was amazing. I always recommend and speak highly of the Brit School. It was a great time, 4 years of my life. And then I went on to Middlesex University and studied music business.
When did you go there?
Me and dates. Ooh. And when I was 18.
I was there,
21.
I was there 2011.
Wow, okay. I think
Is that right?
that might have been a similar time.
Which campus?
Hendon
campus.
Yeah.
So where was that?
Yeah, and then I did do 1 year in the other campus, the older one, yeah.
God, that would be wild if you were there at the
would have
same
been
time.
It's
Wow.
a possibility.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
How old are you?
31 now.
Shit, we were there at the same time.
I love
The
that.
same
Hey, that's
So what did you study?
Wild. So I studied neuropsychology and music
Wow.
and engineering.
Okay, lit.
This is why
The
Aaron's my hero.
Yeah. So I frequented the music block though, because my dissertation, we did a lot of crossover.
Okay.
So now that I'm thinking about it, there is a chance that we would have seen each other, which is
passing the
wild.
corridors. Wow, small world.
That's quite cool.
So, yeah, I went to Middlesex, studied music business and arts management. I was contemplating whether to go to a vocational college to study like more songwriting or just a music course, but I found that I was doing a lot of little things outside of education, so that was fueling my experience in being on stage and stuff. So I was like, let me learn more about backstage and about the management side of it, and what else would I do within the industry other than singing, like, because I just wanted to equip myself a bit more. And because you just never know. I always think I'm the type of person that thinks ahead. Like, okay, if this doesn't work out, what else can you do, and what other things? So yeah, I was very interested in the management and getting into the arts events management as well. So that was cool, and the business in general. And that was great, a great time at Middlesex. And then I went on to, whilst I was there, I started a job. It was a touring job. So it was like every weekend, my sister was doing it. And then they needed another singer, and it was a Motown show. And we went on like every weekend, or every now and again I'd dip in, and it was like dressing up as these Motown legends in the wigs and the dresses. Amazing. And sequins, and like doing backing vocals and just having a great time. So I was doing that, finished Middlesex, continued to do that. And then I got from someone that left that company, he set up his own, another company, and they were doing a Whitney show. And I was like, that would be cool. So I joined that as a backing vocalist, and I understudied the lead, and then I was in that for 3 years. That was amazing. That was training ground as well as the Motown one, but they were both hardcore training grounds that equipped me for all the things I was doing. Alongside all of this, I was always into writing and releasing little projects, and I was really getting into producing and just creating, which I was encouraged to do from quite young, which was nice. And so I always had that creative outlet when it was original music or covers. Yeah, the Whitney stuff was great. When I started to lead, I really learnt a lot about how to handle singing all the time, and, you know, vocal health and just stamina and stretching my range, learning how to make something your own sort of thing. So, but it was like a Whitney tribute kind of tour. So it was great to learn from a singer like Whitney, who had been singing her songs from young as well. So that was a great opportunity.
Did you go on? You said you covered the role. Did you go on?
Yeah, I covered the role, and then that was the first year, and then the second year I was actually playing the role as well, Whitney Queen of the Night, and that was fun.
Wow,
and
that's a big thing to take on.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was amazing. We took, what a nice thing was that we did the live keys of her songs. So a lot of her live performances were taken down. So it wasn't like, nice. You know, so it was like kind of, okay, I've got 2 hours of Whitney. Let me, you know, it's in a key, and you mix up the songs fast and slow, and, you know, it was well done, and it's still going on to today, actually. So yeah, that was an incredible experience. And I went through like so many different, you know, learning how to handle your voice when you have a cold, and illnesses, and just traveling. Traveling alone was hard, and just being tired of that. Like the bit on stage was like the fun bit, and that's where I learned, okay, the hard work is behind the scenes. You know, being on stage is the joy and the outlet that we live for and stuff.
Because how long were you in each venue for?
A day.
Just a day?
That night,
that's serious traveling.
Yeah, that's intense.
Whoa.
4 days a week or 3 days a week. So yeah. And then on my days off, I'd be songwriting and building that skill, or just recovering and preparing for the next week. Yeah, it was great. And then as I had those times off, I was songwriting and preparing my next project that I'd release, next EP. I got to a point in the show, I was like, okay, I feel like I've exercised it all, and I want to, you know, grow in another way now and step outside of my comfort zone. And then the opportunity of X Factor came along. So I decided, okay, this will be cool. You never know how it's going to go. But I said, let me take a leap of faith and try. I had these original songs that I'd worked on, and I wanted to showcase them. I wanted to, you know, get in front of a bigger audience and just take that leap. And I was prepared to do it. And it worked out very well. I got to the live shows. That was amazing. Simon Cowell as a mentor was great. And just to be in that environment was amazing.
We try and do a fair amount of like looking up and research and stuff for the guests that we have on. And I admit, somebody has put a compilation together of all of your X Factor performances.
Okay.
And I watched the whole thing start to finish. And it was wonderful. I don't know if you care or read about comments, and some people don't. But what I found particularly uplifting about it is that there are still comments that are being made today about your performances, and everything is just so beautiful. So anyway, just a little small thing to share. I did find that quite wonderful.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. I was very conscious of knowing that my performances would be there forever.
Yeah.
I bet.
So every week, when it was a live show, I was like, and even we'd even record them in a recording studio beforehand. Although it was live, but we were able to record our sound check and stuff, and that would go out on iTunes. And like just the pressure of like getting it right there and then, and being happy with that. Which again, I think these things equip me for where I am to today, like doing shows every day and making sure you're on it like every day and stuff. So yeah, that was a great experience with X Factor. And then I was asked to come in for Hamilton, scouted, I'd say, by the casting directors. And I auditioned, and then I didn't get Hamilton, and I was like, no. And I didn't even know much about Hamilton at the time, but I started to fall in love with it the more I was preparing for the auditions. And then that didn't work out, so I, went through the motions of receiving a no from a show that you really want to be in, or that you can see yourself in, but it just wasn't the right time. And then soon after, the same casting directors came back and asked if I was around for Les Mis and to audition for Eponine. Again, I wasn't familiar with Les Mis as much as everyone else, so I did my research and I was like, oh, okay, I see what they can see, and I auditioned, and that went so beautifully, and that happened, and I got the role of Eponine. Cameron McIntosh got me in early to do some ensemble tracks to just get a feel of the musical theatre West End lifestyle and being on stage, and that was another rewarding experience, just to be in the ensemble, take a step back and just understand and watch. And then I started the concert as Eponine, and then we did some great things with the CD and the DVD and cinema stuff.
You really hit it at a great moment, didn't you?
It was great. And then again, another opportunity to learn and with all the people that were involved, and to just make my mark and do it well and deliver.
Very different style of singing to what you'd been doing. How did you find that?
I was up for the challenge, always up for something different. Yeah, I was open to learning. It was a learning. I was like, okay, I'm going to come in as a blank canvas and feed me. I want to learn, sort of thing. So it was different. Like when I write my own songs, obviously I sing my own accent and stuff. But when you hear a song or when you're singing, you're so used to automatically going, especially with my experience, to an American, or I don't know. I really liked it. I was just like, this is just different. I was just open to it. I remember being in rehearsal for the first day and just being in awe of every single voice. It was so different, so unique. Hearing those, the ensemble and Les Mis, I was like, wow. And the depth of people's voices and the characterism. It was just new. And I was like, wow, okay, and I can fit here. Okay, you guys accept me in here. Let's try it and let me see what I can bring. And the directors and the musical directors were so patient and so nurturing and welcoming from the audition day. I remember feeling that in the room, going into the room and feeling so welcomed and so like at home and comfortable to just deliver. And I think it's so important with that, whatever you do, which is what I'm continuing to learn. You have to bring your whole self to anything that you do. So I was able to do that, and it's nice when someone can give you the space to do that. Yeah, because you need that with anything that you do. Musical theatre, writing, you have to bring yourself to it. And I was able to do that straight away, and also be like an empty cup, and everyone was just pouring into it. And then as I filled it up, I was able to pour out every day on stage. So it was beautiful. And then after that finished, that was a beautiful time. And then Hamilton got back in touch. They must have been like, she should be ready now.
Yeah.
She's cooked.
We've seen what she can do.
But every time I saw Cameron, I was like, I want to be in Hamilton. He was just like, don't wait, darling. Your time will come. So yeah, the time came and I auditioned. Because I think they were aware from the last time I auditioned. So they called me in and said, do you want to have a little sing through? And I was like, okay. And then they said, we're going to record it. I think it was quite later on in the casting process, so it was quite a quick turnaround, which I'm very thankful for. And I really prepared well and hard for that. I remember me and my manager, props to her, because she's quite hands-on, and she's like, do you want to do a Zoom call practice? And, just hearing me out, and they're every step of the way with me, which is, again, having the community so important, having your support, a listening ear, so important.
Has she been with you a long time?
Yeah, she's been with me through the X Factor process. I signed with her when I was in the Whitney show.
Right.
So yeah, so just before X Factor. And then through the hard work and, belief and delivery, I, was able to get the role of Eliza, and here we are. With a few months left, and we're about to say goodbye to the role and take another leap of faith. So yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There is so much to rewind over.
Yeah. But that was like a skating version, wasn't it?
It's great.
I mean, I kind of want to go right back to the beginning of singing at home, singing with your family.
Yeah.
Was there a purpose to that, or was the purpose joy? Was the purpose singing? What
purpose? I'd say my dad was very into music. He wrote his own songs, and he was still writing them at the time. And I think, not that he wanted some backing vocals on his track, but he was like, you've got these girls here, and he was always doing live gigs, and it was just his world.
Right.
It was his world.
Right.
And I have like videos of when I was like 3 or 2 on stage with him, like trying to sing and stuff. So it was just, I think it's in me, and it's kind of destined. And he heard my sound, he heard my voice, and he discovered and heard that there was something there. We found joy in it as well. I loved it. I loved the challenge of it. I do like a challenge. And yeah, I think he definitely is the root of that. And he saw the gift that I carry, and he helped me nurture it. And now I'm continuing to nurture it. So I think that's the purpose. That was the purpose of starting. Yeah. He saw it, and yeah, I think.
Was it something you could just freely explore where it went, or did you feel you were honing it in a particular direction? Was there a right and a wrong, or was it?
No, there was no right or wrong.
Right.
I don't think so. I think my dad, with what he knew and the tools he had, he used that and poured it into us. And then he did have a few friends around. We'd go to like a few friends that were vocal coaches and in choirs, and then we started singing in church a little bit. Yeah. More when I was like a teenager. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was. I loved every second. I have the images in my head of like on our camcorder and just dancing and singing and just practicing over and over, like in my school outfit. I remember, it's amazing. And these things I do till today. If you go on my Instagram, I post videos of me playing and singing, and practice is key. And I've learned that, the effects and the what you get from practicing well. And you just, when you put time into something, it will grow.
You say practicing well. I think I recently delivered an entire hour's workshop on practice. I think we don't ever learn how to practice. People say, go away and practice that. But learning how to practice, what are the elements of your practice?
Wow. And everyone's different as well.
Yeah, right.
My one, I would say, depends on what I'm practicing for. If it's like a song that I love, I pick up my guitar or I get the lyrics and I sing along with it, and then I try and get that, like the melodies and being able to sing it when I'm reading the lyrics. Try and get that quickly over and done with, so that I can now find my style and just sing it by myself, so that I can find Shan in whatever it is I'm practicing. It takes repetition, a lot of repetition and patience and belief, and then also getting people to listen to you, having that, going through those motions of, oh my God, I'm about to sing this for the first time in front of you, and I'm so nervous and my voice is shaking. So you got to get over that, and getting the feedback and
is it
recording.
Still family you go to for that?
Yeah, they have no choice now. They're
like
hear
the test bed of all your stuff.
in the kitchen, anywhere. We're all singing. So, and also if they don't hear it, I record it and I listen back.
Okay.
Because I trust my ear.
Yeah.
And I trust in the Lord, in God, that He has given me a good ear to know what sounds good. And through my research of social media and what, the singers that I've listened to, you hear what's good or what you think is good. And sometimes it's kind of like there's a pro and cons of that, because with social media alone, just because you're fed what is popular doesn't mean it's good, but I have an idea of like what I like to hear, and you know what makes me feel good and smile and gives me chills.
Yeah, it's really great. It's having that sort of instinctive ability that has been cultivated from such a young age, that you then go and take your own findings and your own research to, I think is really, really special. It's not just, oh yeah, I've got this gift and I've got this and I'm gonna carry on with that, and it's gonna continue to be this kind of untouchable thing almost. But what you're doing is, I can build on this, I can learn, I can improve, I can share more of this special thing with the world. And I think that is so wonderful. It's the perfect student ethos.
I love that.
Yeah. I have issues with students that don't practice.
Oh, okay. you must nurture your gift. Like we're all gifted with,
absolutely.
Something, and you have to, just like a plant is not going to grow itself. You got to water it and take care of it, cut it here and there, and take off the bad ones, and you have to nurture your gift. It's so important.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, beautifully said.
Till this day, there's always more to learn. Even when I go to sessions of Claire, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Like Hamilton has taught me so much about my voice, and as a woman as well, and as an actor, and there's so much to learn. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
Do you think that moving between styles then and tacking on that component of acting as well has given you something more than if you were to just straight up have jumped into musical theatre from the beginning?
I definitely agree. And I definitely think all the different elements I've had and the experiences and knowledge, musical knowledge, has added to Shan. It's allowed me to become, I feel like there's a different, with taking on a lead role and having that responsibility, that vocal responsibility, and having the stamina. If I didn't train with the songs that I trained with, and the Whitneys, and having that responsibility, and knowing how to use certain parts of my voice or my belt or the textures of my voice, and adding to the emotion. People ask, "Oh, how are you not breaking down?" And how do you sing this song so beautifully? How are you not breaking down in terms of the saddest scenes in the show? It's technique, and it's knowing your voice and knowing what textures work well with that part of the song.
This is fascinating to me, and I kind of want to go into this a bit more about your process of essentially building a character or a piece, because it seems like it's almost technique-based puzzle pieces that you're putting together and testing out, as opposed to coming in and just like fixing on one thing and just keeping it that way and then tweaking it. Do you know what I mean? It feels like you're kind of going into it in like another layer beneath. And I'm very curious as to, maybe from a nerdy point of view.
I love.
But I think that there's something there,
Is there
and I
another
want
point of view other than the nerdy point of view? I'm not sure there is one. Is there?
I don't think there should be one.
It's funny. It's really interesting.
Yeah, like
it has to be that way because you do it every day, and you have to find something new, and your voice is different sometimes, and we go through our cycles. Our voices change a little bit. It gets harder sometimes. You go through the cold seasons. Something may have happened in the show, and it's like, or something may have happened at home, and it's affecting you. There's so many ways and so many different things that happen around your performances. You have to figure out, different things that work on different days. But I love. It's the story, it's the emotion, it's knowing the story and the emotion, and then connecting that to different parts of your voice, kind of thing, which is really cool. Because I know that if I think this is why I love Whitney Houston so much, because she showcased a lot of that in her performances, in her prime and her vocal performances. Like when she'd belt, you'd feel a certain emotion. When she'd go really soft, and and then her falsetto is something else. It tells another story. It's not just a vocal thing. It's also this is when the acting comes in, like your facial expressions and your body language. all of it comes into play. It is a layers. It is a little puzzle thing, and it can get really interesting. And that's what I love about having experienced musical theatre and doing 8 shows a week, because you discover different things every day and working your way. Okay, you check in when your vocal warm up. Where's my voice at today? And you work out, okay, do I need to lay off a bit more on this higher note a bit more? And because it's different, and you're using your body so physically throughout the show. Sometimes you need to add more pressure and less pressure, and knowing how to, even the straws, and like knowing how that works with your voice has been so interesting. I loved it, and it's really helped me through the process. And it can get detailed, but also reminding myself to relax in it and to trust in what I'm doing. I've trained for this, my body will know what to do. Sometimes I have a show and I'm, like now I'm like clearing my throat and I'm like, oh God, there's like mucus, I didn't even know that was there, sort of thing. So sometimes you're singing a song and you're like, oh, it's just come up, and you just have to know how to hold it down or to work through it. These are some skillful things to do on stage. So I'm very grateful, and I love every challenge that comes my way, and just having the opportunity to have a listening ear from the audience is, I think, especially now I'm getting ready to finish the show, I've been like performing and like, oh, these guys are really listening to me right now, and I can perform and I can sing to them and tell this story. It's really nice, and especially in a song like Burn, like they're really there with you, which is really beautiful. And I know people out there that feel my pain as Eliza and go through similar things and the topics of like losing a son, which is what she goes through. Like people are with you on this, so it's really nice to have the relationship between you and the audience. That also helps to just experience and to get your emotions out.
Do you feel that as a very live thing? Are you feeling the audience differently every night?
Yeah. You feel the audience differently every night. It's cool. Sometimes they're quieter, sometimes they're more reactive, and I think either one is so valuable. Like it's not, oh, they're not reacting today, so forget this audience. No, like they're listening, if anything, or do something. What are you going to do to make them listen and engage more? Try something, or it's nice. I love every audience. And then even like receiving their feedback when we see them back after the show is really beautiful and encouraging. Sometimes I'll feel like, oh, I haven't done a good show today because my voice went here and I forgot this, or I was slacking on this. But I'll go after a show and then someone will be like, oh, that was so touching for me, and you really helped me, and and I was like, wow, do you know, that happened to me the other day.
So many people have said exactly the same thing, that they have felt like a show hasn't gone well, but they've gone to stage door after, and somebody has said it was the best thing that they've ever seen, or the most moving thing they've ever seen.
That is so beautiful to hear.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this is bigger than me,
Yeah.
It's bigger than me, and what I've done is enough.
Yeah. And I think remembering that you're part of the whole team that tells the story. So you may not have been having your best show, but somebody else might have been. And in any case, your 50% show is pretty damn amazing. So your audience is imbibing all of that.
Yeah.
They're taking all of that in. And that's what they talk about when they come and say, that was incredible. It's the whole story, isn't it? Now, I think sometimes
backstage, on stage,
a lot of performance anxiety is based on, oh God, everybody's looking at me.
Yeah.
And they are for the moment you're doing Burn, but then they're looking at Hamilton in a second later, and they're looking, it's a team effort, right?
It's such a team effort, and there's just so many life lessons you can get from just that. It is all a team, and you can't teamwork. My dad says teamwork makes the dream work, and I was like, it's true, it does. And backstage, on stage, everyone is so valued and so needed and so necessary, including the audience. And especially, as we said, in those moments, it's so rewarding, especially if you feel discouraged as a performer, which happens, and it's normal, it does happen. But we have to remember, like, we have trained for this. We are like, there's so much around us that's creating this beautiful piece, and this is why the show is what it is, or each show is what it is.
This episode is sponsored by Vocality, a specially formulated blend of tea for professional voice users. Each ingredient has been carefully selected to help you soothe and take care of your voice. Vocality is naturally caffeine-free, suitable for vegans, and does not contain any artificial flavours or colours. Vocality is the secret to vocal clarity in a cup. So here's a question then.
Okay.
Do you have the same output? And by output, I mean like not just vocals, but emotion and content, you know, all that kind of stuff. Do you have the same output if you're doing the same piece in a studio versus live on stage? Does it differ for you?
With what I have on the day, I will give. If it's a studio, it's different because you might do takes and verse take, the choruses take. And then obviously there's the vocal levels and stuff, the mic control. But I always try and put in the same. And then when it gets to the live performance, I may have lived with that song for a longer time and practiced with it in a different way, and then you have the audience's energy coming back, so it might be a bit different.
Do you imagine an audience if you're in a studio?
No. I just think of the song, what I'm singing and what I'm trying to say. Even when I'm on stage in Hamilton, I don't think of the audience, I think of what I'm trying to tell them. Yeah. And that's all I can do. I think that's when you're in most control as well, when you're focused more on what you're trying to say and getting that across. And that's what I'd want in a studio recording, which I'm going to be doing soon because I'm finishing a project, a Shan project. So I'll be going in the studio soon, and I'm trying to figure out now how am I going to prepare for that. So I'm going to be practicing my guitar parts and singing, and the more I practice, as we mentioned about practice, the better I'll be equipped for the studio session. And when I'm in the session and I'll just be recording the vocals, it's just going to be, as long as my voice is there and I'm happy with how my voice is on that day, I'll just be in the moment and just, however I feel, and just, again, using those little parts of my voice that I think would work well in certain parts of the song. So
do you find it, you talked before about bringing Shan to what you're doing.
Yes.
Do you find it easier to do that in one genre than another?
Yeah, I think I had to search more when it was Eponine, when I played in Les Mis, because it was so different. But I loved it. It was like very classical and stuff. But then it had the Cockney side of it a little bit because of the character Eponine is. So I had to search for that. But then I was like, I remember I searched, back when I was younger, how I used to be. I used to have a little Cockney accent. I remember like all these little songs I used to record with the Cockney accent for some reason. But I searched for Shan. I searched a bit more in Eponine. And that was also, just developing my acting skills alongside the singing. And I felt like, my singing's there, but I had to build and grow my acting. And how I did that was like just understanding the story and relatability and just storytelling. It's all storytelling, and that's why I feel like I've achieved and I've done well with the sung through musicals that I've been in, because it's storytelling for me. And another level would be to go into a play. That would be probably the next thing to really get more into the acting side of stuff. But the storytelling has been key for sure. And that's how I've been able to bring in Shan and bring in, act it out. And, not everything about a character is going to be you, and that's absolutely fine. But some sort of relatability is good. And key, I think, even with Eliza, I find there's so much of me that I can learn from in her, and also that I can bring to when I play the character. So that's been really rewarding in this time of my life, especially like going through finding love and engagement and stuff. And Eliza does these things, she's young and she goes through it, and just adulting and the topics of forgiveness and fighting for what's right and sisterhood and love, that all of these topics in Hamilton have really added, and I'm experiencing now in life anyway, and as we do anyway, but at just another level, I suppose. But yeah, I hope that answers, bringing yourself, and it's like, it's just a balance, isn't it, somehow?
And then you're having to balance what's being asked of you by creatives as well.
Yeah.
Because what eventually comes out of you, I sometimes think of as, it's like you're the crock pot into which everybody puts their creativity and asks you to express it for them. How do you find balancing bringing Shan, bringing Eliza, bringing everybody's vision of Eliza? How is that?
It's good. I think it's a collaboration. If a director has something to add, I'm like, yes, tell me. I'm like, that's good. I want to know and I want to work on that. Reason being is because we want to grow, and when someone else is watching you, I can't watch myself. So I'm like, okay, this is good. You're watching. What did you think? And where can I improve? And just, again, learning about the acting aspect, because I didn't go to drama school to train in theatre necessarily. So I've been learning on the job. So I'm like, okay, please show me. And I've learned a lot about acting and characterization and how I think something is and what I'm doing or what habits I have. And then the director's watching and saying, oh no, you tend to do this, and it looks like, when I'm certain parts in like burn, like you're looking like you're giving up. No, you're not giving up, or you can go an extra mile in being joyful and helpless, and let us feel your joy even more, or relax back into the singing. You don't have to belt or anything, just relax back, and that's enough. And balancing Shan where, I want to do this and I want to add this riff or whatever. It's like, no, actually, what about the story, and what about how would Eliza as the woman she is and the characteristics she carries, you can take the softer side of Shan, and that is enough for the character and for the bigger picture. Like, it's not just your show, everyone has their parts to play. And this is what, when I did X Factor as well, which I was conflicted about, because I found that there were so many things about me that I didn't get to show. Like, I play guitar, I write my own songs. I did sing an original at the judges' houses, which was a great opportunity. But I was like, in the live shows, I wanted to show more. And, I like to move, I like to dance. Can I show all of this? But I just found myself in the position of, okay, she's showing her voice and a lot of ballads and these big songs. And I was like, I just want to show more. But this is TV, this is, how they've done their thing. Everyone has their role, and they had their people that did the up tempos, but it's all for the bigger production in a way. So, but everyone, you can think differently on that one, but it's similar to theatre. You have, for the bigger picture, you need to play your part, and that's what makes it so beautiful. If you're drawing a painting and this one's trying to go into that part and that one, no, just do your bit, and then it's going to come together nicely. So I appreciate the directors and the musical directors, the dancing directors, with what they do, because they're the eye that we don't. They're the audience, and they're the feedback that we don't always get. And they're doing their thing, and we have to all come together and respect what they're saying and trust what they're saying. It is a tough one. I've seen that it can be conflicting, because you have your belief on what you should do as an actor with your character. But they're like, try this, and I'm seeing this. So you have to collaborate. And again, it's a team effort, and at least try what they're saying and try it out, discuss it. Okay, this is not working for me. Okay, can we find a balance in between? Why is it not working? What does it mean to you? Why you're doing it this way? So it takes humility. You have to have some humility to receive the feedback and be willing to try something different, which has been enjoyable for me. And scary. I remember my first year, Ruben, he's amazing, and he's like doing all these amazing things, and I was like, I'm just like here, I just need to do this one, I just need to do it this way for this moment, and then I'll be ready to like experiment more. It's been interesting, like an interesting journey, whereas now I'm like, let me try this and try that, and it can, and then not be nervous about it. It can be nerve-wracking because you're used to in such a big stage, such a big show. But you just have to go for it.
I'm just wondering what the things were that you were looking for, even if subconsciously, because we don't feel ready to play until we've got what feels like a safe environment for us. So I suppose I'm asking what made it safe for you?
What made it safe for me to play around? I suppose that's such a beautiful question. What made it safe for me? I think it was in me. It's definitely my thought process and my confidence. Confidence and how I prepared for each show on stage and off stage. I go to the gym and I like to have like, you know, fit gym lifestyle. And then I was getting into like weightlifting a little bit and stuff. And then I realized after a while, like when I didn't go to the gym, I was like, this is getting easier. Like, why? I was like, okay, Shan, you need to not be lifting like the weights and stuff. And you need to figure out what exercises work for you and your voice. Like I was liking the benefits of like physically, and I felt like really strong and stuff, but I felt like I was starting to restrict in my voice. So then once I started to do less weightlifting or just use the equipment that you know, that's made for your legs, not like you don't have to lift the weights to then do the
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
So just using the right equipment and stuff, and that release tension, using the facilities that the company provide, which is vocal massages and you know releasing the tension off in your shoulders, and just using, thankfully they provide that, which is really amazing. So I was able to make use of that, and yourself, you know, having vocal coaching sessions and using the straw and like, okay, how am I warming up, and you know, what do I need at this moment in time, at this point of the week, and then trusting. And I remember Alex Lacamoire, he's done the music of Hamilton and stuff, musical director, and he came in and he was like, oh, you can do alternatives in this song, and you know, especially Helpless and stuff. And I was like, can I? Like this whole time? And then then we worked out some different other ways of singing the hey part, and I was like, oh, like, and then I started to do it, and then me and the musical director Chris, we sat down and was like, okay, what do you think of this new one, and how's it going, and this is a good plan B if you need it, can you still approach the plan A? And I was like, you know what, I can. And I know also that's what the audience are probably used to. It wasn't drastically different, but when you've heard something and you're a fan, like, you know, you're like, yeah. So I was like, let me just try going back to it and just seeing how it goes, and it was absolutely fine. So I don't know, now knowing that, I remember I discussed this with you, knowing that I had that plan B to step back on, that somehow made me really comfortable to just do it.
Sometimes
I think
having
it's
options, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Just if you've got other options, you don't need to take them.
I think in a lot of these big shows where they're very well known and people have sung along to them at home, there is a sense of, I have to adhere to the plan, I have to adhere to what everybody has heard. But that doesn't necessarily, that was laid down by the first person who sang it, right?
Yes.
They happened to have that little riff in their head, and off they went, and now everybody else is trying to meet that expectation along the way, and it makes it hard for you to bring Shan.
Yeah.
Because Shan's riff might have been something
Exactly.
different. So sort of working that trade-off between the expectation and actually giving people something that really feels like it works because it works for the performers.
Yeah.
Do the characters come with you, do you think? Do you think Eliza will stay with you in some way? Has Eponine stayed with you?
Has Eponine stayed with me? Oh, that's, in some ways I could find her.
I feel like Whitney has, the way you talk. Whitney seems to have stayed
Whitney
with you.
I think you choose what you want to stay with you and stuff. Eponine, like her resilience will stay with me. I'll take some qualities with me. And with Eliza, like a lot of her qualities will stay with me. Yeah, it depends on if I need to bring them on my next journey.
Yeah. I guess it's those puzzle pieces again, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's a requirement for something later down the line, it's something to draw from.
Wow.
I know you and I share a real passion for mental health and the mental side of performance. Where does that come from for you?
again, I stem it back way back with my dad, because he used to we used to sit down and study the Bible and go through scriptures, and he used to like teach me so much about my faith, and then he used to send out like messages to his friends, like texts, and I think that's when WhatsApp started to come about and stuff. Or I think it was just texts, but he used to send, every day. That was his thing, like sending out a message and encouraging people. And then I remember he said, oh, when you're ready, and you should do that, like encourage your people as you study or do your devotions or journal, like share a word of encouragement, and as that's looked at as ministry. Yeah. So I used to do that, and then 2020 came, because 2020 came and I was sharing stuff on my Instagram, like Instagram stories, like just little messages of encouraging quotes of the day and stuff. And then I was like, I remember I asked everyone on there, I said, would you like, if I had a page, would you support it and stuff? And they said, yeah, I want a page. So I was like, okay. So I made up the Shan Vibe page, because 2020 was a rough time for us all. We weren't sure what was going to happen. I just wanted to really share that word of encouragement to everyone that was going through things, and if it could help one person, that was enough. So I wanted to just in any way, I just have a natural yearning to help and to encourage someone. And I know that it's not just you see people's achievements, but you don't know what they're going through at that moment in time, or what they've had to do to get there. And everyone smiles on Instagram, but although we see all sorts now, but it's like a highlight reel on Instagram. So you need to get to the root of things sometimes, and there's people are calling out for help. So any little help, I was there to do it. So that's how the Shan Vibe page came about, and then I remember I wanted to expand on it and stuff, and I came to you, and I was like asking you about psychology, and you were saying, oh, there's one called positive psychology, and there's like short courses, and there's like bigger courses, and we had a nice long conversation about it, and I was like, okay.
Just sort of had a geek out, didn't we? Because I'd been looking at all of those things as well, and just kind of...
I was like, positive psychology, like focusing on your strengths and stuff like that. And I was like, and coaching, and I was like, okay, this is cool. This seems a bit of like, it sounds like me, and naturally I wanted to find something in 2020 because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was like, what else? Again, like when I was at university, what else could I do, alongside what, the singing, if it doesn't work out and stuff. I'm not saying I don't believe in my dream of singing, but in this day and age we do multiple things as creatives, and that's okay. So I wanted to look into how I could get into something else, and positive psychology looked like a course that I was would grow into, and it seemed right up my street. And I wanted to equip myself as I was sharing these encouragements with everyone on my page. I wanted to be equipped to take it to the next level. So I was like, okay, master's degree sounds great in that, and I started it. I had to put a pause on it especially when I started Hamilton, and I'm hoping to go back to it and to finish it. So we'll see. But it's been amazing, like just to grow the brand and get into like psychology and the mental mindfulness of what we do as creatives, as human beings, and just remembering that mindfulness is important in the process of it all, because it's hard. And when it gets hard, what do you do to get by? What do you do to handle when you're nervous, when you're stressed, and when life's lifing? So
life is lifing.
Life is lifing. That's
what
great.
do you do? So as well as my faith, which I hold dearly to and I share openly online, it was important to also just understand what could help us with whatever's around us, like nature and journaling and gratitude diaries, and who's in your circle and stuff. All these little things were so important, and I wanted to elaborate and just make people aware. And I started coaching people as well in 2020, and it was really nice. I really felt like I was in my purpose again, another purpose that I was fulfilling. and helping.
Does it feel connected to the performing? Or does it feel
Yeah,
like a different thing?
it does. It feels there's ways I can connect, because I use these tools for myself as well, because I go through the motions as a performer, you know, and you're nervous on stage, or like, not that I get nervous all the time, but now and again, you know, been off for a week, come back and I'm like, whew, what am I doing? And as life, you know, as things going to change, as I finish Hamilton, I'm about to take a leap and move country and stuff like that. So it's gonna, yeah, I need to put these practices in, I think, and I have been. And I think I wanted to encourage other people to put the mindfulness practices, and it's so important. There's more, that your mental health is so key. Like if you can't pour from an empty cup, so we have to look after ourselves just as beings, and we deserve that. We need that in order to help others, in order to perform well, deliver in our workplaces. As much as musical theatre is such a beautiful environment and I've been embraced so well, it's hard. Like, you know, people are going through it, and we have to support each other through that. And if there's anything I can do in a building, which I try to do in Hamilton, and just I bring the joy, but also bring a listening ear, bring anything that I can bring.
You know, you are constantly putting yourself on the line every night. You're also taking on somebody else's emotions on a nightly basis. And I think having some mindfulness around that, being able to put yourself beside it at some point rather than in it, because it can bleed in every direction in your life, right? And I think especially when you're telling these really difficult stories, you know, Eponine and Eliza, they have some difficult stories to tell. You know, I think being able to have ways of keeping yourself safe and grounded is really important, and I see that with so many singers, and that similarly then can bleed into the function of the voice, because the voice is our emotions. You know, the two things are tied together. You've taken that one step even further, because you've written a book.
I'm excited by this.
I went and wrote a book.
Show us the book.
Yes.
The Shan Vibe.
Shan Vibe. Here we are. Oh,
So tell us about that.
It's basically a compilation of all my little quotes and journals that I wrote over the years from when I started the page. And I put them into a book, and I designed it, and it's kind of, my thoughts and words of encouragement. So I'm really happy it's out and people are loving it.
Did it change it to have it in print?
It did. Wow.
Did that feel different?
Yeah. I was like, wow, a whole author. Can I call myself an author?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would say so.
Not just an author, a published author.
Wow.
This is such a lovely book. I really love this.
I'm going to get you guys a copy. You've got to have your copies. It's been...
I really like this.
It's like I can have... That's there forever. My offsprings can have that, but...
There's a difference, isn't there, between what you do on stage, because that's there that night, and then you get to recreate it the next day. Does it feel different to make something that is now... It's that, and, you know, I mean...
It feels good. It does make me want to do more.
Great.
I want to... I'm even thinking of, like, rebranding the name in a way, and just... I'm just, like, exploring more things and getting into, like... you know, it could be advice on performers' life, or like how to sustain in the industry, and or like quotes for singers. I don't know. It's like
great.
Just different things like that. We'll see. There's so much I want to elaborate on with the Shan Vibe, and I don't know if I'll hold the name the Shan Vibe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to explore with other names as well.
Okay.
So it's growing. It's growing, but we have something good and a nice community over there that I really appreciate.
It's addictive, isn't it? Like once you started penning something, it's very hard to not keep going.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's beautiful. I think the design, the structure. I think it's such a lovely book.
Thank you. I was so encouraged, like, to get it out and keep going, and because it was a long process. I was like, got to edit the book, and got to read through it. And
how long did it take you to piece together?
couple of years,
Yeah.
like just stopping and starting,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Where can people get it?
On Amazon, on my website. It's on Amazon, yeah.
That's exciting, isn't it?
And on my website, and yeah, I think that's it at the moment.
We'll
And a
we'll
Kindle
some
as well.
links.
We will
The
put
Kindle.
some links up.
Yeah.
We'll put some links.
I think it's
in the
really
downstairs bits.
what really fascinates me is you went to university and you did business, music and business, and here you are as a performer channeling what you know as a performer, channeling what you know as a human, and the connection with other humans, and then that business thing is coming
Yeah.
in underneath. It's really amazing. You really are the sum of your parts. It's really you're living proof.
Thank you. And this day and age, especially with social media, like you do it all these days, isn't it? Not that you delegate and stuff, but content creating and performing, and that's a whole other conversation of like the requirements or what's expected now as a performer in social media and your brand, and you're not just an actor, you're a whole brand now, and it's a lot. I think if you can handle it, go for it and do it fully. But if you're just into the art, and that's absolutely fine as well. I enjoy the content creating, I enjoy all of that stuff, and I think that's good. So I always try and just keep going and keep making the most of where I'm at in life. I think I never want to like do a role or be in a position and I feel like, I didn't make the most of that. I really do want to make the most of everything that I do, and on stage, off stage, and really have a good effect on people and bring my best forward. And and then when I'm pouring out so much into people, and then the times when I need pouring into, they're there to pour back into me, and it's a collaboration again, all that stuff.
You are a very beautiful presence in the company. I know that from when you're you just there's such a graciousness and such a calm around you.
Thank you.
Imagine people
coming
felt
to you.
that now as well. It's such a calm space. It just makes me feel, I don't know. Yeah, like I haven't zoned out, but you know what I mean? I feel like I'm just kind of like, just so relaxed.
That's good. That is good. That's so interesting. And you've been with me on the journey, from especially my musical theatre journey, from Les Mis to Hamilton.
But I would say that vibe has been with you since the minute I met you. That's the essence of
vibe?
you. That would be the
Shan
vibe.
I think it's about being just grounded and not necessarily me being in control, but knowing whatever you believe in, knowing who is in control and what's in control and stuff, and just and knowing that what's going to happen, you've done your bit, so what let the rest flow.
I think there's a very powerful connection there of awareness of what is in your control and real guts and determination to do it. If you piece together that sense of I can influence this, and I'm doing it because I practice and I practice and I practice and I do all the things, and I pay attention to what's helping me at the gym and what isn't helping. Like you have a very powerful combination there.
Yeah.
Because to just say, oh, it's important to be in the moment, you need the backup for that. You need the action as well. And I think you very much bring both.
Thank you. I'm trying and learning, and it's been good. And even every experience that I go through, and anyone that is even listening and going through their musical theatre journey or music journey, acting journey, whatever journey, all the setbacks, are setups. I love that little quote. If you go for an audition, which I've been through many auditions and got no's, Hamilton, that was a no I received in the first time around, and it's okay. Like, the world is not over. Like, what can you learn from this? Let's keep going. Okay, what do I need to do next time? What's working, what isn't working? And it's about, I think we can definitely gain from having the right people around us, like coaches and people that know us as well, and seeking that wise counsel will help. You just have to know who they are and pick wisely.
Pick what feels right as well, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it might change in the future. You might decide, actually, this doesn't feel right anymore. But I think if you're picking relationships that feel good, you're probably onto a winner there.
Yeah. And the fruits will show.
Yeah.
I think the fruits will show from that as well. So I love that.
Shan, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
I loved it. It's been such a beautiful conversation, and the tea has been beautiful.
The tea's very tasty, it's true.
You guys are amazing.
We have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I completely forgot.
One is, the show's called The 5 Minute Call.
Yes.
What do you do at the 5 Minute Call?
Do you really want to know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I could be finishing my food. I could be painting my nails. I could be finishing my makeup. Rushing to brush my teeth. Putting warm water in my cup so that I can have my drink for the night, and then rushing downstairs. There's a lot that could be happening, or I could be on a TikTok live saying hi to everyone. And also on the phone. Yeah, so
It's amazing the picture we're building
Yeah,
of
I
5
know.
minutes before the show from all the answers we've been given.
Yeah.
It's general chaos back there, right?
It is pandemonium.
It's a lot of people going, ah!
I'm on TikTok live and people are like, the 5 minute call is gone. Shan. I'd be panicking, that's what they say. So
Amazing, thank you.
So our second little tradition is we get the previous guest to write a question for the next guest, and it goes completely unseen until the moment we read it out. So,
yeah.
okay, I feel like this is very appropriate for you as well.
Aww.
What is the best piece of advice that you have received?
Wow. Best piece of advice I've received. Gosh, that's a big one. There's a couple. I'll give you 2. I'd say trust and believe, and then what's for you will not pass you.
So beautiful. And also, interestingly, exactly what Alexia Kadim said as well. What's for you will not pass you.
Yeah. It's so true.
Which I fully believe in.
We
Yeah,
are
exactly.
super excited to see what happens for you next. Good
Yes.
luck with your big
Yes.
move.
Thank you.
It's really,
Yay.
it's our loss, but I'm very excited for
I'll be
you,
back
and
and
I know
forth.
you're coming back and forth. so.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your support and what you're building as well, and all that you poured into me as well over the few years,
Such a pleasure.
and all that you poured into me, and like with your gifts, and you're sharing your gifts, and you guys are a blessing to the industry, and I'm glad to have spent this moment with you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That
you.
is really lovely.
That's a very lovely way to end our day. Thank you.
Thank you. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the 5 Minute Call. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the bell for notifications. Your support really helps us bring you more amazing stories.
If you are or have been affected by any of the topics discussed in today's episode, please see the show notes below for some helpful resources.